Here we have our sample data that needs some data cleaning because as you can see, our data is still quite messy. So before anything else, what we want to do is we want to make a copy of our raw data so that we have just an emergency backup of our raw data. So what we can do is we can simply create a copy of our raw data here. You can also feel free to rename it as raw data in case there are some inconsistencies that you can meet and you have a reference. The rows and column widths, as you can see, are not equal. There are some inconsistencies in our data, missing data, and etc. So remember, in this module, you will focus on data cleaning essentials, which are namely dealing with duplicates and inconsistencies, identifying and handling missing data, and techniques for data standardization. So for now, we have again this sample spreadsheet which we will include in our resources for you to practice on. So the first step that we need to do is we have to auto-fit the rows and columns in such a way that our rows and column widths are equal. The easiest way to do that is go to this square here to select all of the cells in the sheet. And first, to auto-fit the columns, click anywhere between the letters so that it turns into this cursor. Double click and it auto-fits the columns. Next, for our rows, to make it equal, do the same thing between the numbers and double click and click anywhere on the spreadsheet to cancel that out, and here we go. Everything is auto fit. This time, let us observe our data first. So if you're given a data set, you have to scroll through your data and review which parts are inconsistent, which parts look messy, which parts can be eliminated. So in this part, we can see here some codes that are encoded with a bracket or enclosed with a bracket. Now let's say we want to take that out. So we can use the find and replace option. So let's go to the find and select here in our home tab. And what we're going to do is we want to find whatever is enclosed in a bracket and replace it with a blank. So we want to input our parenthesis, and to specify whatever is enclosed in a bracket, you can put the asterisk sign to symbolize that. Then we want to replace it with a blank. So if we do that, click on replace all, notice it removes everything that was enclosed in a bracket. So that's how we use the find and replace tool to clean the part of our data. Okay, so now that we have done that, this time let's examine this column. So here on referral, notice that it seems the letters are not in its proper uppercase or lowercase, and also there are irregular spaces before or between the different names. So what we're going to do is we can use the trim function for that. But before that, I want to add another column. You can do that by hitting Command Shift plus, or sorry, I'm going to add it here, Command Shift plus, Then we're going to put here furl. Then here, we are going to put the equal sign, trim. Let's use the trim function. And let's select D3. And notice that it eliminates any unnecessary spaces. But there is still a problem with the capitalization. You want it to, of course, be in the proper capitalization where the first letter is only capitalized. So we are going to use the proper function. And we're just going to nest it here. Basically, it's the outer layer because you want it trimmed and you want the trimmed name to be in proper capitalization. Hit enter. What that does is it fixes the capitalization and gets rid of any unnecessary spaces. If we click on this, double click, then it automatically formats the rest of the names. Now we want to, of course, get rid of this column, but if we do that, then it will return a blank or let's say a reference error in other cases. So what we're going to do is I want to copy this and paste it as values. What that does is it only pastes it as values and not as a function anymore. So if we delete this, nothing happens anymore. Okay, so that's how we use the trim function. Next, actually I missed something here on client. Let's say, for example, you don't want this or your boss doesn't want the client names to be in uppercase letters. So you have another option. You can use the upper or lower function. So if you wanted this in the lowercase, select the equal sign. Let's use lower. Let's select D3. And what that does is it converts everything to a lowercase. If we double click, it does the same thing. Okay. And again, we can do the same thing as we did in referral. You can select this. Let's do Command Shift down, Control C, and let's paste it as values. Okay, let's delete this column. So that's how you clean it up, how you clean this part up. Okay. Now those were some tips on data cleaning so that we can deal with the data cleaning essentials to deal with messy data. Now, some techniques for data standardization is to follow, again, the procedure of reviewing and scrolling through your data, pinpointing which parts need some cleaning up, if you need to trim, if you need to fix the capitalization, if you need to get rid of some data, if you need to pinpoint some missing data. Now, for this part, we can see here some missing data, which you can deal with this or address this by using conditional formatting techniques or data validation techniques, or you can use some functions such as the if function so that you could set some conditions for these blank cells. So these are some ways in identifying and handling these missing data as well. But for now, this is all we will do for Module 2 because in the next module, you will deal with more techniques, especially on data transformation, so that